Yo, what's up, people? This is Just James, your boy, back for another episode of Let's Be Real. Tonight, I have with me Fee. Y'all welcome Fee to Let's Be Real. We're gonna be real tonight. Fee, what's going on? What's going on?
Hey, staying out the way, James. Just staying out the way. Doing
Man,
good though. Can't complain.
I know that's right. I
How you
know that.
doing? How you feeling?
I'm, I'm good. A little bit tired, but we're gonna push through.
Okay.
We're
Do what
gonna
we
push
do.
through this thing. Oh yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it tonight. Our title is It's Complicated. Um, on Sunday, I going through Facebook, I ended up on clicking on a live. Didn't know what I was clicking on. People were talking about, this live. Some kind of way ended up on the page. Clicked on the live, didn't know what I was watching. Um, by the middle of the live is when everything turned. That is the story is a Columbus woman, Columbus, Mississippi, I believe. Woman, man and wife got into an argument. So we're gonna start off. I'm just gonna read the story, and then we're just gonna get into it and just talk about relationships, friendships, family ships, all kind of ships. Some ships sailing, some ships, some ships still going. But we just gonna get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It says a Mississippi woman has been charged with murder after she allegedly gunned down her husband following an argument, which played out to her friends and family on Facebook Live. I hope I'm saying the name right, but Khadijah Michelle Brown of Columbus and her husband, Jerry Brown, were captured fighting in the chilling video, which was live streamed on Saturday, police said. The county sheriff's office said that the couple had been arguing most of the night and that Jerry was trying to leave the apartment to defuse the situation. What is the conversation you want to have? Khadijah repeatedly asked him as he prepares to leave. Don't touch me. Tell your daughter to keep her hands off of me, he says while holding a phone up to his ear, while another woman, who's apparently his mother-in-law, is heard in the same room. You're supposed to be here, Khadijah says as she berates him for not helping with the kids. It just goes on watching the video, basically him saying, them going back and forth, him saying, get your hands off of me. You can hear, the mother-in-law in the background telling them to stop, that they needed to stop. At some point in the video, you could hear the mother-in-law say, that's why these kids, and that's when you hear the gunshot. Just tragic. I just thought that was something that, needed a conversation because we have so many situationships, marriages, relationships that go through domestic violence. And this is just one of those cases where it ended tragically with a father losing his life, kids losing their dad. At some point in the video, you hear at least one of his children come into the room and I'm guessing see their dad laying there and crying out. And I just want to put up a picture. This is the couple here. This is Khadijah and Jerry or Jeremy. Some articles refer to him as Jeremy Brown. Jeremy Brown, who lost his life this past weekend after a domestic violence disturbance. And I just think that it's tragic, but this just goes to show that there is a turn of events. We're always seeing women, going through domestic violence and calling the police, but this just lets us know that men are abused as well. So what are your thoughts on this article and this tragedy?
Deep breath. Deep breath. James, in a matter of minutes, right? You see so many things played out that just did not start then.
Right.
You know, they didn't wake up and then this just like so many things played out in a matter of minutes. My thoughts, so many, is disturbing. It's sad. And it's frustrating.
Right.
Sometimes it's simply said like, why aren't people communicating, or, you know, just sit down and have a conversation. Maybe that had happened, we don't know, but the frustration point is from my perspective is just we have to think beyond ourselves.
Right. Right.
Like, you get caught up in the moment. We all have,
Right.
and we still will. But you have just got to take a deep breath.
Right.
Look at the bigger picture. You're two adults, children in the room.
Right.
That's where the frustration for me is like somebody leave, somebody do something. Right. Because we have children.
Right. And even as you were saying that, that's just weird. And sometimes we don't, I guess a lot of times people in our circle know our stories and, you know, what goes on. Both of us have been married, both of us divorced. As you were speaking and when you were saying children in the room, and this is just my story, my truth, my experience. And I just remember a lot of times people don't understand the leaving, the divorcing, the can't do this anymore. But I can remember in my own situation, a situation where me and my ex-wife ended up getting physical. And that's probably one of the last times that we were in the house together because it got physical. Right. And I'm the type person that my grandma raised me. She raised me, you know, you never put your hands on a woman. And the one thing that happened in that situation was, you know, when I was grabbed and then I reacted, that let me know then, yeah, it's time to, you know, let this go. Because once you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, you're in anything, even family members, when something becomes physical, that's toxic. That's toxicity. And it's time to take a step back and make some serious decisions, especially when you have children in the room. Because like I said, when you were saying that, I just thought back on my own experiences. And I remember that my sons were in the same house. And, you know, a lot of things transpired. And then children start feeling, they start feeling torn and feeling like, you know, should I go this way? Should I go that way? But one thing about relationships is when it gets to a point where you got to put your hands on me, I got to put my hands on you, then it's time to either take a step back and say, what are we doing? Or take a step out the house, take a step out the door, take a step even out of the relationship to say, this is not good for me. This is not serving me in a positive way. And maybe this is not where I need to be, which it looks like, you know, in the video, that's what Jeremy, or I'm going to say Mr. Brown, I don't know if it's Jeremy or Jerry, but Mr. Brown was attempting to do. But it's so unfortunate that, you know, even with him trying to get his stuff and leave the house, and I believe he was on the phone with like his uncle. I believe I heard him say, hey, you know, I am leaving. Right. But sometimes you have those people, and some people just love toxic behavior. And she was mentioning him on and like, what are you doing? And trying to pick his phone. Leave the man alone. If he came and got his stuff, let him go. Now, I did see a post maybe earlier that day before. It said something about, you know, my husband is a bisexual man. Okay, so what? That's his business. Not, I mean, I guess it is your business. That's your husband. But if it's to the point now where you're posting about the man that you stood in front of your family and God to say that I will love you for the rest of my life, for better or worse, well, that was probably your worst. So are you going to love the man? If you're not going to love him, then let him leave.
Right. Not only did you stand before God and take those vows, you bore 4 children, not 1, but 4.
Right.
Okay. So, it is, and I have a very similar, and I was the one who went from 0 to a million with a 6-month-old child. And I realized there were only going to be 2 alternatives for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm either be in a crazy house or I'm going to be somewhere serving time.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Period. And neither one of those were an option for me.
Right.
But in that moment, I knew. I mean, to the point I have got to make some real hard, critical decisions that's not going to look good, feel good, taste good, smell good.
Right.
But guess what? Here I am today. I
Right.
sleep good at night.
Right.
But, people stay in things for different reasons. But again, big picture.
Right.
Sometimes there are situations that will take you there.
Right.
Take a breath. And especially if a person is not even giving you that same energy.
Right.
Aren't you tired? Like,
right.
I looked at the video and I think she might have struck a pose a couple times. Like, you hear it, just
right.
Going on, and he was not giving that same energy. So what are we really doing? Like, are you showing out? You trying to be seen? Like, what are you doing? Are you really mad? Like,
right. Or is this something you just
same
face?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what are you? Is this just another the day before you're posting, saying mean things? Now you showing up and showing out. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
That's the other thing. When it's all said and done, like after you watch them beat, you don't hooked out of your clothes and you don't calm down. What we really doing?
Right. Right. What's the bigger picture? What's the bigger issue? Because that is one thing that in relationships, it's kind of like an onion. You have this one problem that you're dealing with in their situation on Facebook. But what are the smaller issues that led up to this? And that's one thing that even in my personal story, that's one thing that I always tell people. Like, even with my situation, with my separation and divorce, it looks like this one situation because this is the situation that we're talking about at this moment.
Right.
But you're not in the house with these people yesterday, last week, last month, last year, when little things keep building up, because the Bible says that it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. So nobody knows these little issues that are behind or preceded this bigger issue.
Right.
But even in those times, we have to be adult enough to say, maybe I should leave.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not for me.
Right.
If I'm at a point now where I'm blasting you, my better half, supposed to be on social media and calling you out, maybe this is just not the relationship for me. Maybe I need to be by myself.
Yes.
And then sometimes you don't know why. Like you said, to your point earlier, some people stay for different reasons. And that was my thing. I thought that I needed to stay in my marriage for my sons.
That's right.
Because I was going to, disappoint my sons, and I wasn't giving them the American dream of a mother and a father in the same house. But the bottom line, when the smoke settles and the dust clears, all marriages don't work out.
No.
But you can love somebody and not be in love with somebody. You can love somebody, but not be good for them. Both of you can be good people, but you're just not good for each other.
Agreed.
You have to make those decisions.
I remember saying, I love you, but I don't like you.
Right.
I didn't like the behaviors. I didn't like the way things made me feel. This cannot be the ideal, way to wake up and lay down and navigate. But I love you. I do. But loving and liking are two different things.
Two different things. Oh yeah.
You know? So that's where you have to have those real conversations with yourself and self-assess, and don't ignore it. Don't
Right.
ignore self, but you got so many distractions out here that take away from you listening to self. But we're in a space and everything is just published, right? And
Right.
that's why we have to be so mindful constantly.
Mhm.
When you walk out that door,
Right.
constantly got to be mindful because you're going to interact with people. We're not
Yeah.
in a bubble. So, you just got to be so mindful all the time because it can be the smallest things, the biggest thing, but it's a thing.
It is a thing.
Think about it, process it, find the right way to talk through it.
Right.
Even if it's having isolated conversations, I remember I'm one of those where I internalize.
Mhm.
I internalize and I deal with it and I make decisions. And then by the time you hear the decision, I'm
Right.
good, right?
It's already made. The decision's already made now. You just gotta go with it.
Yeah. Am I saying that's the best approach? No.
Right. Right.
But but then you have some people who are ready right then in that moment, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. But that's where you got to pay attention to the room, the energy in that person, because
Right.
if they're not giving you that same thing or they're not respect that.
Exactly. Exactly.
But don't go out here bashing, don't go out here showing out. Don't do none of that
Right.
because the bigger picture at the end, the middle, the beginning, middle, and end of the day, it's beyond that moment.
Right. Right.
So now what? Then it becomes like I say, when you done hulked up, you done calm down. Now what?
Now what?
You gotta live with that. Now what?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Every day of your life, you have
gotta
to
live with that.
And that's one thing that and I don't know how we got this, but this is where we at. So this is what we that's one thing that happened with me through my separation and divorce that I had to realize with myself. You had the church giving you, the bishop giving you the word and the pastors giving you the word and, against divorce and what the Bible says about divorce and marriage and your family giving you their opinion and your friends giving you their opinion. But at the end of the day, I had to make decisions based upon what I needed.
Right.
And I knew that those decisions, and it's in my book, I knew that those decisions were going to carry me throughout the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. That's where I was at this crossroad of what do I do? Mm-hmm. And that's so many times in marriages and relationships, when we come to that crossroad, we go the wrong direction.
Yes.
Because we're so hasty to make this decision. And then, like you said, we hear the distractions and we hear the voices of our pastor and our mom and our dad and our cousin and our sister. And we don't even make the decision. Most times we don't even make the decision based on me. What direction in life do I need to take for myself and for my sanity? So we end up making those wrong decisions. And we end up sometimes going the wrong way in that crossroad and staying in situations that are serving us no purpose at all. And maybe they did serve us a purpose at some point, at one season in our lives. But now you're at a different season in your life. And in different seasons, you need different things.
Absolutely.
You're not going to wear a coat in the summertime.
Right.
You're going to look silly. So you have to analyze your own life and say, what is this season teaching me?
Right.
What does God have for me in this season of my life? The last season is gone. So we have to make decisions. And like you said, have that hard conversation with ourselves.
Right.
What do I need to do? Right. What is going on? And stop looking at the other person. Well, they did this and they said this and they, but what about you? Because
Right.
once we have that conversation with us and we know who we are, we know where we are, and we know where we need to go, then it's easy for us to make the decision for ourselves. And now we put the ball in the court of the other person and say, this is the decision I'm making for myself and my
Right.
life.
Right.
You got to figure out your own.
That's right. That's right. And you know what we witnessed in that Facebook Live was a snippet. You know, you heard, "You're not here. I need support," whatever, whatever. And you know, on the outside looking in, it seems so simple, right? But everybody, I'm sure even the children included, everybody in the room know.
Right.
And I think it's even important too that the conversations are had healthy. You got to have healthy conversations
Right.
too. Because
Right.
again, we keep going big picture, the impact.
Right.
Because you're so caught up, in the moment that you're not seeing behavioral changes in your children.
Right.
Or is it something that I am doing that is causing this person to act like that?
Right. Exactly.
Or was this something that already existed? I accepted it then and it was good then, but see, it ain't good now.
Good for me now.
Yeah. And it's so it now let's think about that. Because we just talked about seasons, right?
Right.
So, you know, like I know, before you got married, before you had children, some things were acceptable and they were tolerable and they were okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get married.
Right.
Those things don't, you know, those aren't tolerable things anymore. You're in a new season.
Right.
Then you have children. That brings forth another season. So,
Right.
you know, even with that concept, it's like you should be evolving, but then people are like, well, he or she is the same person then that they are now.
Right.
Well, let's unravel that. Because that may have worked and made sense and was tolerable for both of us or one of us then, but so many things have happened. So many
Right.
things have been said.
Right. And now you want me to be the same person in this season that I was in the last season. And it doesn't fit me now because I'm a different person.
Right.
And so are you. But what you don't understand is you're a different person in this season. You're still trying to fit last season into this season. And it doesn't work.
You're trying to fit 1985 into 2023.
And it ain't going to work at all.
So it's just so many things to unpack that can happen in a matter of minutes. So many things, but you know, it is now what?
Mm-hmm.
Now what is, you know, you had to pick up the pieces. I had to pick up the pieces. This family, two families gonna have to pick up these pieces.
Right.
And it's just, it's you know, it's just an unfortunate thing. And we're not here trying to give answers. We're talking about how we've been. It may not been exactly that, but we've been there.
Right.
We've been there.
Exactly.
And by the grace of God was able to step back, take a deep breath, and make some decisions. But you know, everybody doesn't have that luxury, and we witnessed that this weekend.
Right.
There was no step back. There was no deep breaths.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing was needed. Because now you're in a situation where, you know, and I don't know. I heard the cries, and you know, when it did happen, and how she was crying out, and she was just saying, you know, I didn't mean to do it, The gun went off. We don't know. We don't know what happened in that instance. We don't know if it was intentional or if it was not. But what we do know is that the gun went off.
Right.
He lost his life, and now you're behind bars. So this day, at the end of the day, the children they have a mother here physically.
Right.
But now they have to prepare themselves to go through this trial and reliving this situation over and over again because you didn't take the time to step back and say, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then the mother is there. And I mean, I understand she only has so much control. Her daughter's an adult, you know, she makes her own decisions. But just personally and looking at my own situation, my own marriage, I just feel like that there was more.
Yeah.
There was more in that moment that she could have done to prevent the situation, and God forbid. I mean, and maybe it would still happen the same, maybe the same outcome, or we would have gotten the same result. But we have to get to a place in our marriages, in our relationships, where our parents are in place and not operating out of order.
Come on now.
Because in this situation, you were out of order. If it's 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, why are you at their house anyway? Why is she calling you and adding you into her situation and stirring? Now you have to look at it on the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the coin. Why are you in these people's house this early in the morning if she's having an issue with her husband? That's her husband. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife. Not for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife until he has problems, and then he calls his mom over in the morning. You were supposed to be at your house.
Because let me call my mom at that time of the morning.
What you want? That's your husband.
Are you on fire?
Right. And if you're not, then call me back when you figure out your situation.
Get off my anytime minutes, please, baby. And I love you.
We got to learn to operate in season.
Yes.
In order. In order.
I was going to say in order.
A lot of times
we don't want to when we got that cheerleading squads
in your ear, and you doing you right.
Them pom-pom shakers. Okay.
But then where are these people going to be? Where are these people going to be when all hell break loose now and you're back against the wall and you don't know what to do anymore? Now what? Nobody's there for you anymore because now they're going to remind you, that's your hood. That's your wife. That's your man. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Oh, you don't have nothing to do with it now. But you did an hour ago.
Yeah, you had a lot of narrative before, but you don't have no narrative now. I don't hear you talking now, but you had so much to say in the midst of the mess, the whatever.
Right.
But now all lips are sealed. Nothing. No.
Right.
Where you at now?
Absolutely.
And I thought about something when you were talking about, it was a point you raised, I can't remember, but I thought about, what do I want? Do I want to go through this now, through this change that I know I need to make for my sanity, to be in a healthy environment in my home? Do I go through that now, or do I wait and stay in it and then make an excuse?
Right.
See, that too, because remember, people are looking at you. You talked about this earlier, this expectation. Oh, you did it the right way. You got married, you had children, blah, 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 and then it didn't work.
Right.
So do I want to have to talk about that now?
Right.
When I'm admitting to myself, this is not healthy, this is not good, this is toxic.
Right.
Or do I stay in it and then I make an excuse? Then I have to make an excuse to like my child of why I stay.
Right.
I think that too plays into why people It's like, well, I don't want to have to deal with it. It's just easier for me because then, people gonna have something to say. Let them,
Right.
let them say.
Let them talk. Because they're gonna talk anyway.
Right. I rather, position myself and be okay with this decision because I know.
Right.
And 30 years later, well, and
right.
How much damage have you done to yourself, convincing yourself every single day?
Right.
Here I go again. Here, in it again. Let me just spur the beat. You see what, like,
right.
it is, or do you get to this point where you just snap?
Right. Oh yeah. I remember I put up a post in one of those seasons on Facebook, and it was just a time of just hell, and it was just like one thing after another. Mm-hmm. And I saw this post and I was like, it is so fitting. And I remember putting that post up, and I remember saying, and it said, y'all do know one day I'm gonna snap. And I remember getting so many phone calls like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. But I just wanted to put that out there because people don't realize when you're going through whatever you're going through, at this point, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. Right. It doesn't matter who did this, who did that, who's leaving, who's trying to stay. Right. At this point, I'm going through a season of turmoil.
Yes.
I'm going through a season of back and forth in my head. And am I making the right decision? Am I making the wrong decision? How's this going to affect my children? Are my children going to be okay? What? All the family dynamic at this point, your whole life is literally flipped upside down. And then to add insult to injury, you got people coming at you and right. People have their opinions, and you should do this and you should do that and you shouldn't do this and give it another try, this and that. You don't give it a try and give it another try, and you should go here and just stay and just go and you're hearing all this while you're still trying to make a decision
right
for your sanity and literally going crazy at the same time.
Breaking down, you just breaking down, but you showing up.
Yeah, still showing up. You showing up, and you just there. Like the song say, my body's here, but my mind is on the other side of town. Because I remember even going to church and just going. Because it was what was expected of me, and it was what I thought people wanted to see. Like, just keep showing up and keep coming, and it's going to get better. And I'm in church, and you're telling me it's going to get better, and my mind is screaming, but when?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
And you know what just happened when you pulled into the parking lot or the night before.
Right.
But see, it's Sunday at 9, and this is where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Up in here doing this. It's like the mask. You still show up. But that truth, how many of us are not living in our truth?
So many people.
How many of us are not operating in our truth? We show up.
Right.
It's just a form to me of like a functional addict. Yeah, you showing up.
Right.
You've been doing it so long, you probably don't even realize, it's like driving to work and don't even realize that you drove to work. Like,
you just show up. How did I even get here? But you're there.
You're there. And then one day,
that snap.
You snap. You snap either what we witnessed or you snapped and said, I'm done.
Right. Right.
I'm done. And I'm okay with it.
And I believe that that's what happened with Mr. Brown. He was done. Whatever the situation was, whatever his sex preference. But I just feel like that there were so many issues and so many things that had gone on to it got to the point where it's like, this is not serving us. This is
No.
not serving our children, because children are only going to be able to take so much until something is going to start happening up here. And they're going to start believing that this is normal behavior. This is how life is supposed to be. I'm supposed to beat my wife. I'm supposed to nag my husband. You know, we're not supposed to get along. And all of this, reading the article, all of this because you didn't cook breakfast and you're not taking care of the kids.
Right.
But this is a group effort. We're supposed to be taking care of the kids together.
Right.
And just me personally, you know, things happen. If I can't take care of them, then that's what you're there for.
Right.
To take up the slack until I can. But that just let me know with the little petty stuff that you brought up, you know, during the video, the little petty stuff that she brought up during the video, it just let me know that there were bigger issues. It wasn't the fact that he didn't cook breakfast. It wasn't the fact that he wasn't helping you with the kids. I don't even think it was the fact of the post that you put up the previous day that, you know, my husband's bisexual or whatever the case may be. I don't even think that's an issue. It could be true. It could be not. But looking from my perspective, it just looks like it was something that you wanted to put up to kind of, you know, gauge some attention towards you.
Yeah.
But now you have all this attention, and now look what happened. Yeah. Again, because you didn't take time to say, you know what? Okay, he didn't cook breakfast. Okay, he didn't change the baby. Okay, he didn't give the older kid a bath or whatever the situation was. Now, he didn't. That's the reality. He didn't do it. Did it get done? If it got done, then why are we still here? Why are we still talking about this situation? Even though he didn't do it, it was done. Whether you did it or not.
Yeah.
It got done.
It got done.
Now that's over. But so many times it didn't get done. 2 months down the line, you remember when. Well, why are we remembering when?
Right.
2 months later, this baby done took 50 showers or 50 baths since that day. And now we're still dwelling on what happened back then.
And that point you're making, buddy, didn't mean to cut you off. And see what you know, in that moment, that which is ain't no cereal. So you upset that ain't no cereal, but then you start bringing up stuff.
Right.
And then it's like, that's stuff you've been wanting to say.
Right.
What else is up here?
What else is
that you hoarding? Right. And, you know, because, it ain't no cereal, you know, peanut butter, no jelly, Kool-Aid, no sugar. Right. But now you're starting to talk about, like you said, baby bath 3 months ago, got in the car, wasn't no gas. But I thought you was upset because there was no cereal.
Right.
You see but that's what you're dealing, that's what we're dealing with.
Right. Right.
You know, and I'm not saying you gotta say everything that's on the tip of your tongue that upsets you. No, that's not, but to literally be walking around and let it get to that point, and then in that moment, you're that. Don't love me like that.
Right.
Don't love me to the point where you will kill me. Because guess what? I ain't even worth it. I ain't worth it.
At all.
If you can get that man to the point that you just go ahead and
I ain't for you. I can tell you.
It ain't that serious.
It is never that serious. I ain't the one for you. If you're to the point where you can use the words kill or murder or hurt, or if it gets to that point,
let me go.
I know that I'm not the one for you, and maybe there is somebody else that can do what you need them to do.
Yes.
And if you need me to, I will help you. I will assist you in finding that person, but that person is not me.
Yeah. And it's scary if it's your arguments are to that degree, and then the the physical element come, and you gotta watch the verbal piece of it too.
Definitely.
Cause it's some clever people out here who know how to use that mouth
Oh yeah.
without even putting their hands on you.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it can be just as detrimental.
And make you feel about
Because
that.
how can you talk to me like that and you love me? How
Right.
can you talk to me like that and I'm the mother of your children or father, whichever.
Right.
So it's the hands and the mouth. But see, again, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention, listening to what is being said,
Right.
body language.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I thought you was upset because it wasn't no cereal.
Right.
But now you talking about, I ain't turned the porch light on. Wait a minute, what? What?
And I don't forgot that. I'm like, porch light when? This morning?
Right.
No, I'm talking about 6 months ago. When you 6 months ago, I didn't turn the porch light on.
Yeah.
How many times have I turned that porch light on since then? So why are we still? But that's the thing. It gets to a point, and like you said, if you don't love me like that, if we're married and you have an issue, yeah, we might be in a heated conversation right now. But later on, when we've had time to separate and both of us have had time to think, let's come back together. Yes. Let's sit down and have an adult conversation. Mm-hmm. You tell me what you're feeling, what hurt you, what you didn't appreciate.
Right.
And let's have a conversation and give me a chance to change that behavior.
Yeah.
When it, like you said, when it gets to the point where, I got to put my hands on you, you have to put your hands on me. We have to go and pull out guns and knives and shooting and stabbing. We're at a point now where, and just my own personal opinion, we're past counseling. Because now we want to kill each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
We passed counseling. That we should have seen counselor 2 years ago. Because that's when the issues were at a place where we can manage them. But now if I want to kill you, you want to kill me, or I even get in my mental that I want to pull a weapon out on the person that I vowed to love, honor, and cherish, that's your other half.
Yeah.
The Bible says that you two are one. So if I'm cutting, if I cut you, then I should bleed.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it is. And it just gets to that point. And like I said earlier, we know that all marriages don't work out, and it's not going to always get to that point where you're going to counseling, where you're going to, the pastor or outside counseling or whatever. Some cases, just like, I'm done, can't do it. Okay, pastor, I hear you, love you, thank you for your advice, but this is not something I'm going to do. And I know I may get some backlash from it, but it's cool. But I have to do what's best for me at the end of the day, because if my pastor, woman or man or woman, if you're married and you're in your marriage is happy, and you got thighs, you got lips, hips, and fingertips that you love and you can still get along with, and you don't have an issue with, and y'all can make it work, then by all means, congratulations.
Yes.
But that's not my testimony.
Exactly. And don't try to make, because it looks one way because we show up.
Right.
But I know, and they know the truth.
Right.
So when decisions are made, hey, good over here.
Right.
Good. It might take you some time to get good, and that's okay, because it ain't your life anyway. That's the other thing. Like, people are gonna have their feelings, they're gonna have their thoughts, but I promise you, I can't. I promise you, it's okay.
It is okay.
It's okay, and it's gonna take some longer than others.
Right.
But it ain't their story anyway.
But you'll get there.
Yeah.
Look at us in traffic. We don't all get there at the same time.
No.
Some people take the highway, some people take the scenic route. Whichever route you want to take, You decide what route you want to take.
Right.
I'm taking
Be
the
okay
route.
with it.
I'm taking the route that's best for me. If I
Right.
get there before you, it's okay. If I get
Yeah.
there after you, it's okay. As long as I get there
And be safe
and safely. You're right.
on your journey.
Right.
But why you go that way? Why you
That's the
hey,
way I chose.
yeah,
We all going the same way.
yeah. You
We all
safe,
going
you
the same way.
good?
Yeah, I'm good. I got here. I was a
Yeah,
little late. You know, what you call it, tardy to the party.
yeah.
I was a little tardy to the party, but
But
as
I'm
long as
here.
I got here, I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm
I'm
here.
here. You know, and we just gotta find that place. And it may take time because some situations require a little bit more of that. But I am so thankful, buddy, that I had to just spend time with myself to get there, though.
Right. And that's important.
I had to spend time with Fee in order to get there
Right.
because I was once upon a time that, ooh, what it's gonna look like. Ooh,
Right. Right.
but when you get to know when you in here and having to dealing with that, you're gonna cry. You're gonna be looking ugly. You might even not recognize what you see in the mirror, like, oh my God.
Right.
But you're able to speak and talk.
Right.
Now, do I still get upset? Absolutely.
Right.
But I say, Felicia, I have to step back.
Mm-hmm.
I have to remember I got a child.
Right.
I got a light. Like I still there's more to this than this.
Right.
There's
Absolutely.
more to me than this. Did
Right.
it upset me? Did it bother me? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I ain't walking around here like, oh, I done made it and I'm whole. No.
No.
Don't come for me unless I send for you.
Right.
But I can express myself and say, James, I ain't really like that. And this is how it made me feel. You might not have meant it, but I just don't want to walk around with no ill feelings. Or next time I come in contact with you, I snap on you, or I'm treating you a certain kind of way,
Right.
and you're oblivious. See, that's where people see you're not gonna give me that energy. I don't like. You got to let me know what's going on so we can sit down and have a conversation. But I understand everybody is not there, but it takes growth and it takes dealing with yourself because you get so accustomed to showing up.
Mm-hmm.
But you be so broken, but you're showing up and you look in the par, but you be so broken.
Right.
And you just slowly but surely deteriorating. And when that is happening, you're breaking down your mental and all that, and you snap.
Right. Right.
Then y'all don't understand what I've been going through. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't. We might not.
Right.
But somewhere along the way, I know you something you said or you did could have done a little different, but you didn't pay attention to it.
Right. Absolutely.
So you kept the behaviors going on and on and on. And then one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, and that could have been, what happened with Miss Brown.
Yeah.
It could have, like I said, we don't know. We only know what we saw on Facebook. So the only thing we can do is analyze the video that we saw.
Right.
It could have been just to the point, even in her defense, it could have been to the point where she had faced so much that she just got to her breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
And now, these series of events are playing out on Facebook.
Right.
And I don't even really think, just being honest, I don't think that she meant for it to play out on Facebook. I just think that it happened, she just wanted to go live and blow off some steam.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone was knocked out of her hand or fell or whatever the case may be. And everything just kept escalating and escalating. So she didn't have that second to remember
Mhm.
I'm on Facebook Live.
Mm. Yeah.
Now your life has played out on Facebook in front
Yeah.
of billions of people,
Yeah.
and that could not have been your intent. Your
Right.
intent could have been just, I want to scare him so that he doesn't leave, and I want to, show him that's some people's way of show. I mean, to me, it's twisted, but that's just some people's way of showing that I love you.
Right. Right.
Fighting
Right.
that. That's some people. That's the only thing that some
They
people
know how.
do.
Yeah.
That generational curse that I've seen my
Yeah.
mom do it, and I saw my grandma do it, and she saw
Yeah.
my mom do it, and that just could be her truth.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, I
Right.
just wanted to sit down and talk about it because it's something that I think that we all need,
Yeah.
um, just to be able to talk things out and
Mm.
in whatever relationship you're in. Like I said, marriages,
Yes.
engagement, just get to a place where you're whole
Mhm.
before,
Mhm.
where you're whole before.
Mhm.
Because if you're whole before, at the beginning, middle, ending, it doesn't matter what happens
Yeah.
because you're already a whole person.
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
be whole when it's over,
Yeah.
if it ends.
Right.
And that's just one thing that I realize in the Black community, that so many of us are so broken,
Mhm.
so we're
Mhm.
looking for that other piece of us to make us whole. But you got a broken piece and a
Mhm.
broken piece trying to come together and make us whole. And there's some ridges in it, and sometimes it ain't gonna fit.
Right.
But if you're that whole person for yourself, by yourself,
Yes.
before you meet this person,
Yes.
then you're able to come together and say, I'm whole and healed. You're
Mhm.
whole and healed.
Mhm.
There was a situation. We had an argument. We had a heated conversation. We had a heated discussion. It's over. You said what you need to say. I said what I need to say. We got it off of us. Now let's sit down and try to figure out how do we move forward.
Right.
When you have people that are still trying to heal
Mhm.
and people who came into a relationship with 5 and 6 suitcases and 2 totes already, now you're here with me in this relationship.
Mhm.
You never unpacked from your last trip. So now, instead of, and then when you got here, I didn't know you had all this baggage, so I didn't know you needed to unpack. So now in the storage shed, we got all of our stuff, but at the bottom down here, at the foundation on the floor of our relationship, we got these 5 suitcases and 2 totes.
That's right.
I didn't even know that was here
Mm.
because you showed me something else
Mm. Representative.
when I met you. People show you what they want you to see. But
Absolutely.
now when we separate, and I don't even know why I'm seeing this all in my head, but somebody needs to hear this.
Come
Now
on.
when we separate and you take your stuff and I take my stuff, we're standing here and both of us are looking at these 5 suitcases and these 2 totes and saying, what's that?
Mm.
I don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is either. Because you forgot that you brought it here.
Yeah.
It belongs to you, but you don't know what it is now because we built all of this other stuff on
Right.
top of it and
That's right.
around it.
That's right.
So
That's right.
now at the end, it's like, open it up. Let's open it up, see
Yeah.
what it is. And then, and only then, it's like, oh,